Namaskar viewers, hello and welcome to Sansad TV. I'm Tina Jha, you're watching Perspective. Lower GST rates took effect from Monday with a host of household items, cars, bikes, ACs, TVs and multiple other appliances becoming cheaper. The impact was immediate. Long queues at car dealerships, surge in sales of air conditioners and TV sets and substantial increase also in the traffic and sales on the online platforms. Buyers rushed to grab cheaper deals offered by retailers at the beginning of the Navratra festivals. Car makers including Maruti Suzuki, Hyundai Motor India and Tata Motors reported record-breaking single-day sales. In fact, Maruti Suzuki led the momentum with nearly 30,000 car deliveries and around 80,000 customer enquiries on the first day, marking its strongest single-day performance in more than 3 decades. Hyundai followed with close to 11,000 dealer billings, the company's best single-day tally in 5 years. Tata Motors recorded a historic 10,000 deliveries and more than 25,000 enquiries. Prime Minister Narendra Modi wrote an open letter to the citizens saying they must celebrate the GST Bachat Utsav this festive season. He said lower GST rates will bring more savings to every household and ensure greater ease of doing business. He also said the GST reforms have brought a positive change across the country. The restructured GST regime will boost savings and directly benefit all sections of the society, including the farmers, traders and the micro, small and medium enterprises. The Prime Minister said the latest GST norms will encourage higher growth and more investments, accelerating the progress of every state and the region. On the show today, we will discuss the impact of the rollout of GST 2.0. How will the GST rate cut trigger a broader consumption and what it means for India's growth story? Joining us, our distinguished guests. So let me begin by introducing them to you. I'm delighted to have on the panel today Mr. Mukesh Mohan Gupta, President, Chamber of Indian Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, and Dr. Manoj Kumar Agarwal, Professor of Economics, University of Lucknow. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me on the program today. Professor, in fact, let me begin the program today with you. We're seeing the immediate impact has been quite remarkable right from day one of the GST 2.0 kicking in. So to begin with, talk to us about how significant is the latest GST rate cut in reviving broader consumption?
Well, Tina, I believe that this is a very master stroke after several reforms in sequence. For example, if you are looking at the income tax slab enhancement up to 12 lakh rupees in the budget 25-26, that was the direct tax impact to the middle class, and that has been very, very significant. And top of that, this is the GST rationalization as well as reduction in the taxes. So there are practically two slabs now, 5% and 18%. And most of the daily consumption needs, you can say grocery shop needs, has been reduced to 5% or 0%. So this is significant. And similarly, if you are looking at other items, they have been brought down to 18% or even 5% in some cases. So that is a significant, we can say this is a drop of say GST rates to on an average around 10 to 11 percentage point. So this is significant in the sense that this will release, you can say, the income, disposable income to the consumers, and what Prime Minister has been calling the neo middle class. Remember, this is a new term has been coined, and for whom this term has been coined, this is for those who have been brought out from the poverty. That is 25 crore people have been brought out from poverty. And this has led to a big impact on the economy in the sense that middle class has boosted like anything, and their aspirational demand is very high, particularly when their disposable income is increasing by around 10% point. So they will boost the economy because this is the lower middle class. Right. Our middle class, they will boost the economy in much significant manner, rather in much higher dimension. What we call in economics, this will lead to multiplier effect in the economy. So whatever is the reduction in the GST or income tax, what Prime Minister says, it is to the tune of 2.5 lakh crore rupees quite significant amounts. So multiplier will be much larger, much larger. So that's why I will say this is a big push effort in the Indian economy by the Modi government.
Okay, Mr. Gupta, your perspective on how significant and how timely is the GST 2.0 in how do you think it aligns with making the GST procedure more people-friendly, more simple, because that is what had been in the demand for a long time. How do you see the GST 2.0 reforms actually taking or impacting that aspect as well?
So we are talking about Viksit Bharat, right? And we see and we propose that by 2047 we will be a developed country. I am quite confident that these reforms will definitely play a very important role in making India as a Viksit Bharat. See, I am the president of Chamber of Indian Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, and I feel that more and more MSMEs will be impacted with these reform, apart from the consumers, which you are talking about, the car or the household goods or anything. When we awake in the morning till we sleep, everything, I suppose, is going to be cheaper with these reforms. As far as your question is concerned, that how much will it impact to the businesses, maybe ease of doing business. See, one of the major reform which has been now announced, that the registration will be in just 3 days. What a fantastic announcement by the government. In fact, there will be a lot of refunds on a timely basis for the exporters. So I feel these reforms will definitely play very, very important role, particularly for the consumers and for the small businesses. I just going through a data. I'll just would like to share that with your viewers. So there are about 6.7 crore MSMEs as on date, and out of which about 2.78 crore are registered as Udyam Assist, those who don't have the PAN card or the GST registration with this. And they were perhaps more worried about the cumbersome process, the registration process, and the compliances thereafter. Now, with these reforms, I'm quite confident that these Udyam Assist entrepreneurs, which are micro as far as the classification is concerned, and out of 4.08 crore other Udyam registered MSMEs, 4.02 crore are micro enterprises. I feel that the number is big. Most of the entrepreneurs registered as on today under MSME are under micro category. I'm quite confident that these reforms will take these micro enterprises to small and small to medium enterprises. So thank you, Modi government, for bringing these reforms, actually.
So clearly, MSMEs are very critical. They in fact are the backbone of India's supply chain. But explain to us and talk to us more about how the restructured GST regime actually helps pass on the benefit of the rate cuts to the customers immediately. Or do you think the pricing or the input cost are still posing challenges?
Not at all, not at all. Because you see any items, in fact, whether now the GST is 0 or 5 or 12, barring some of the item, which most of us are not concerned actually. So what will happen when more and more MSMEs will be registering themselves under the GST? So the impact will be they will coming into the formal sector. And when these MSME will come into the formal sector, what impact will have? They will be able to get the finance from the bank. They will be able to get all other facilities with different ministries announced, particularly for the small businesses, micro businesses. They will be able to take the benefit of all those schemes and schemes support. So bringing those unorganized entrepreneurs into an organized sector, this GST will definitely play very, very important role, and that will. I am quite confident that these reform will add at least 0.5% in the GDP of our country. And we are seeing that there were a lot of challenges in past. We were talking about so many negative things like tariff by our good friend Trump Mahoday. So I am quite confident that the impact, negative impact, which was there due to the tariff and other issues being raised by our other country, GST reforms will definitely mitigate them all. And it will create a lot of employment also when more and more unorganized sector, small businesses, micro businesses will convert into the organized micro, small, medium enterprises by getting the funding from the bank. We can see that in Mudra loan itself, more than 52 crore loan have been sanctioned. And now when they will be able to get the GST registration, they will be able to get more and more loans, thereby increasing their turnover, growing from micro to small and small to medium enterprises. Great support to the businesses. I am quite confident that this will add a lot of value to our GDP, to our entrepreneurs, and to the employability in the country.
Okay, Professor, we've spoken about, in fact, we saw the numbers and what data suggests on the immediate impact of the GST 2.0 rollout. In the medium term, however, how do you see this move impacting inflation and the other government revenues? Because this is festive season and whatever we see will have to be sustained. So how do you see the impact in the medium term going forth?
I believe that this government is really practicing the true economics. How it is practicing the true economics is fact. It has lowered the tax to its bottom level. 5% is nothing, but it is the bottom. Nothing can be lower than 5%, and most of the items are under 5%, and others are, you can say, not daily utility items. For example, vehicles and other such items, barring agricultural items, because tractors, etc., has been brought down to 5% level. They are at 18% level. So what is there? There is a great incentive for the business units, whether it is the manufacturing units or service units or others. They have great incentive to participate in GST payments and attract more and more customers, as you have already mentioned about the vehicles, that there is a historic first day Navratra sale of vehicles. So similarly, you will find others. For example, if the cement rate has been brought down by 10 percentage point, so that's a great relief to the builders, to the house builders or others, individual house builders. So these will boost the demand in the long run. Secondly, the cost of production is getting reduced. This will definitely bring down already inflation in the countries within the permissible region. Already what is defined region, targeted region, that's there. But still my hunch is there, very soon it will be further lower by around 0.75 percentage point. And that is a huge reduction in the inflation. And that's why you'll find the RBI itself is quite hopeful. All other agencies are hopeful that it is attacking the inflation. It is impacting the demand of the consumers masses, because I think grocery shops now write down on their shop that it is 5% GST shop, because almost all the items have been in the category of 5%.
Right.
Similarly, if you are looking at the agricultural production, you'll find that the tractor GST 5%, tires 5%, and other agricultural equipments 5%. So there also the cost of agricultural production across the board has been reduced to a large extent, and farmers would be more tempted, more motivated, more attracted for mechanization of their farming that Modi government wants. For example, drone delivery or similarly other things. You'll find all these will push consumption demand as well as production demand, and this is going to nullify to a large extent the tariff that has been imposed by the President Trump administration on India. So I believe it has a very large impact in the Indian economy as well as in the external sector.
So, when we talk about sustaining growth, Mr. Gupta, let me get in your view here. And I want to understand from you, can lowering the indirect taxes alone help us sustain that growth in the long run? So, after the festive season is over, we would still want this momentum to continue. Do you think this GST 2.0 reforms needs to be combined with other fiscal measures as well on part of the government?
Definitely, and the government is working on that. I would just like to share 2, 3 things. See, this government is so much inclusive that even the Honorable Prime Minister invited me, such a small person, at his residence to discuss, various issues and suggestions from our side for the MSME sector. Recently, Ministry of Finance also held a meeting just about 3 days back, wherein the Secretary Department of Financial Services, the IBA, all the banks, SIDBI, they were there. And they wanted to understand that what MSME wants. Actually, there is already a committee which is working for ease of doing business and reduction of the compliances also. So you rightly told that only and only one thing will not be enough if we really want to grow and if we want to be an Atmanirbhar Bharat and a developed country. So the another thing is that you purchase the Indian product only. That is also a call by Honorable Prime Minister. That will also impact a lot. We have seen that there have been many reforms in Income Tax Act also. There are various actions are being taken to reduce the compliances also. That is also very, very important thing. So we have to do ease of living, ease of doing, and all these reforms have to be taken simultaneously. And I am quite confident that with the inclusiveness of the government, these reforms will further. You see, insolvency and bankruptcy code, that is also a great reform, which is also playing very, very important role in exit or the resolution of stress assets and all those things. So there have been various reforms. In the past, we have seen the RERA, the Insolvency Bankruptcy Code, in the Income Tax Act,
right.
Now the GST. So this is a continuous process, and I'm confident that government will continue with these things. There are definitely going to be one reforms I would like to mention here that currently the funding to the micro, small and medium enterprises is based on the balance sheet based. Now we have also requested to Honorable Finance Minister and to the Honorable Prime Minister that MSME needs only cash flow based funding. And in the last budget, if you'll see that it has been announced by Honorable Finance Minister in her budget speech that now the public sector banks will also consider cash flow based lending. And with the GST, see how the life is easy of the entrepreneurs and other stakeholders. If we give our login password to the bankers, they can understand everything about our business, the turnover, the growth, the compliances, number of customers we have, many things they know about our businesses, and there is no need to call even for the balance sheet for financing to the MSME sector.
Okay.
So yes. Yeah.
Okay. So, I'll just respond to something that you said at the beginning of your answer. You're modest enough to call yourself a small person, but for us, you've been one of the most strong voices, especially when it comes to the MSME sector. And we are glad that you've made these suggestions to the policymakers on how going forth GST, in addition to other reforms, can truly be made MSME friendly. Thank you for joining us on the program. I believe you had a prior appointment. So we will let you go, but I'll take one last question from you, Professor Agarwal, and then we'll wrap up the program. It's a great step to revive consumption, as we've discussed the GST rate cut. But in order to sustain growth, because that is where the challenge will lie, given the geopolitical scenario and given the domestic pressures as well. What are the other steps that you think will complement this reformative measure by the government? So, for example, boosting private investment, improving on the export sector, for example. How can we do all of this together so that the growth that we are looking at and the growth story that we want to take forward translates into reality?
Yeah, definitely. First, let's look at the external sector. GST reduction by around 10 percentage point, or you can say it has been reduced to almost half what it was earlier. So it reduces the cost of production in a way. Ultimate, you can say, cost of production gets reduced. Now the exporters have an advantage to that extent in the foreign market. Now there is a possibility that our MSME products, our vehicles are being exported to a large extent. In 24-25, there has been a surge of vehicle export to the extent of around 19 to 20%. So that will get further boost because this is a drastic reduction in their prices. So they have a cost advantage to sell in the export market and diversify what the Commerce Ministry has been looking forward. They can easily diversify their export other than US, where we are already negotiating for some type of settlement for different items. So definitely it will open a good window for us. For example, agricultural items, particularly the tractors, that has got reduced from 18% GST to 5% GST.
Right.
Now imagine the drastic reduction in the cost for tractors. Already we are exporting our tractors to many of the African countries or Latin American countries elsewhere. So we can further intensify our export drive. Similarly, if we have to look into our domestic economy, why an investor should invest, whether it is the domestic investor or it is the foreign investor. Firstly, the Modi government already is going for many schemes like Gati Shakti Yojana or so many other things to saturate the infrastructure requirement for the investors. Already there, governance reform is much there, tax reforms are always there, and this time it is a very big push strategy that is inducing demand more and more across the board, particularly among the middle class. You can say more than 70-80% of the population will boost the demand in the domestic economy. So this will definitely attract foreign investment as well as domestic investment, and domestic investment will be more intensified in the MSME sector or emerging new sectors, because Modi government has been nurturing many types of new projects or many new schemes which are becoming a new growth engine every couple of months in the Indian economy, not only to sustain but to boost the economic prospects, growth prospects of the Indian economy.
So from an economist perspective, Professor, do you foresee any transformative measures ahead of the union budget?
Well, I believe already in terms of the tax, GST was beyond the can say budgetary measures. It has been done. Income tax already it has been done.
Yes.
One thing that I am visualizing, that the thrust is on Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, that the Prime Minister has been emphasizing for at least last several years.
In fact, when he made the statement recently to the nation, that is what the crux of his message was, that our dependence on other countries is what is the roadblock in our development, and that is something that we must take care of.
Yeah, but that's there. But still, I believe that this is going to be a new growth momentum through MSME sector. That is you can say, what he calls production in our domestic economy must be boosted through our own skill, our own resources. So I believe that this sector needs to be further nurtured so that this comes up, because Indian economy will always be known for its growth, sustainability and quality production through two major sectors. Others are there, no doubt. For example, IT sector or you can say defense sector are there, but MSME particularly and farm sector, I believe this is going to get more and more support and inducement for future growth in the Indian economy, because this will lead to Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, this will lead to inclusive growth strategy, this will lead to sustainable growth strategy.
So what what measures will take care of the vision, and especially in context of the Viksit Bharat vision for 2047 is something that we'll have to wait and watch at least till the next budget. But for now, the GST 2.0 is clearly a relief, not just for the common man, but for small businesses across the country. With that, we'll have to wrap up this conversation. Thank you once again, Professor Agarwal and Mr. Gupta, for joining us on this edition of Perspective, sharing your thoughts, your views with us and our viewers. To you viewers, thank you very much for your time as well.
To watch more programs of Sansad TV, subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to like and share them.